In times of darkness, the heart often searches for something steady, something to hold on to when the world feels unpredictable. Gratitude, though often overlooked, becomes that quiet anchor. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding light within the shadows. In the hardest seasons, gratitude shifts our focus. It takes our eyes off what we've lost and turns them toward what remains. It may be something small, a kind word, a sunrise, a memory. Yet those small things remind us that the story isn't over. The power of gratitude is not in changing our circumstances, but in transforming our vision. It changes how we see the trial, not necessarily the trial itself. And sometimes, seeing differently is the first step to healing. Life will never be void of hardship, but when we practice gratitude, we declare that hardship doesn't have the final word. We choose to notice grace in unexpected places. We learn that even tears can water something beautiful. Gratitude, then, becomes an act of rebellion, a refusal to let suffering steal all the good, even in silence, even in struggle. There is always something worth thanking God for. Gratitude does not demand that we deny the ache inside us. It invites us, instead, to see what else is present. It allows us to hold sorrow in one hand and thankfulness in the other. In fact, some of the deepest gratitude emerges not in moments of ease, but in seasons of pain. When comfort is stripped away, the smallest blessings shine with brilliant clarity. The warmth of a cup of tea, a friend who listens, the strength to keep breathing when the day feels too heavy. Gratitude awakens our soul to the nearness of grace. It trains our hearts to see beyond the fog of fear or disappointment, and with every grateful thought we begin to rebuild what life's trials tried to tear down. It becomes a form of spiritual resilience, quiet, steady, unshakable. And though it may not answer every question or erase every wound, it reminds us we are not abandoned. Gratitude whispers that even here, even now, goodness exists, and it's in that recognition that we begin to feel alive again. Not because everything is perfect, but because we've remembered that love, beauty, and hope are still at work in the world. It's easy to give thanks when the sun is shining and the path is clear. But when clouds gather and direction is lost, gratitude becomes more difficult and more necessary. It becomes a spiritual discipline, a deliberate choice to search for the good, even when it hides beneath the weight of grief. Gratitude in hard times isn't shallow or sentimental. It's deep-rooted. It's the kind of gratitude that says, I don't understand this, but I will still look for what is true and good. That kind of perspective doesn't come easily. It grows slowly, sometimes painfully. But once it takes root, it carries us, it softens our hearts, even when life feels harsh. It keeps bitterness from taking over, and it opens the door to healing. In every hardship there is something to be learned, something that refines us if we're willing. Gratitude helps us see those lessons. It changes how we talk to ourselves. Instead of, why me? We begin to ask, what can I grow from here? That shift changes everything. It's not about blind optimism. It's about spiritual maturity. It's about recognizing that suffering and gratitude are not enemies. They often walk hand in hand toward transformation. When we train our eyes to seek gratitude in struggle, we begin to see blessings we would have otherwise missed. Gratitude sharpens our spiritual sight. We no longer see just the brokenness. We see the hands helping to rebuild. We don't just feel the weight. We begin to recognize the quiet strength rising within us. Gratitude doesn't always change the pain, but it transforms our relationship to it. Instead of being crushed, we are shaped. Instead of being lost, we are led. Our hearts begin to expand, making room for both sorrow and joy. And in that space we find peace, not because life is easy, but because we are learning to trust. Gratitude makes room for hope, even when the future is unclear. It reminds us that today, right now, we are still breathing, still standing, still becoming, and that in itself is worthy of thanks. The power of gratitude is not in its ability to erase difficulty, but in its ability to reveal meaning in the midst of it. It helps us trace the fingerprints of grace, even when the way forward feels hidden. Gratitude is a form of quiet courage, and through it we begin to endure differently. Many people wait for life to get better before they begin practicing gratitude. But those who have walked through the fire and come out stronger know the secret. Gratitude often comes first. It's not the result of peace, it's the path to it. When we give thanks for even the smallest flicker of light, we open our hearts to more of it. Gratitude multiplies what it touches. When we speak it, we create space for joy. When we live it, we invite healing. And when we share it, we remind others that they are not alone. Gratitude is contagious in the best way. It softens hearts, restores hope, and draws people together in unity. Especially in times of uncertainty, when fear is loud and the future unknown, gratitude becomes an anchor. It doesn't erase uncertainty, but it keeps us from being swept away by it. It keeps our focus grounded, not in what might go wrong, but in what is already right. And often we realize there is more right than we first believed. Gratitude doesn't deny our reality. It reveals the deeper layers of it. The layers where love still speaks, where beauty still whispers, and where meaning still lives. There are days when gratitude feels unnatural. When pain is fresh, when losses are still echoing in our hearts, the idea of thankfulness may seem impossible. But that's when it becomes most powerful. Gratitude in sorrow is not a denial of grief, it's an act of faith. It's choosing to say, even here, even now, something good still exists. It might be the breath in our lungs, the memory of love, or the quiet resilience stirring in our soul. In those moments, gratitude becomes sacred, not a routine or obligation, but a lifeline. It reorients us. It gently redirects our gaze from despair to endurance. It says, yes, this hurts, but no, it will not define me. That kind of gratitude takes strength. It doesn't always come quickly, and it may never feel easy, but with every grateful thought we build something eternal. We build a spirit that can weather storms, not because it avoids them, but because it knows how to find light inside them. Gratitude becomes the language of survival, not passive resignation, but active recognition of grace. And once we begin to speak that language, even our darkest days begin to change shape. The human heart was not designed to live in constant fear or complaint. While it's natural to feel disappointment or frustration, staying there too long distorts our vision. Gratitude acts as a reset for the soul. It pulls us out of the spiral. It gives us a clearer view. Even when nothing around us has changed, something within us begins to shift. We see with new eyes, and often that new vision reveals how much we still have. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the kindness of a stranger. These things are easy to overlook until we choose to notice them. Gratitude turns our attention to what is present, not what is missing. It teaches us to value life in all its complexity, to treasure the small, the simple, the often forgotten details that make life worth living. Gratitude awakens us to beauty in its quiet forms, and when our hearts are awake to beauty, we begin to heal. We realize we're not abandoned. We see that love has not left the room. Gratitude may not remove our pain, but it ensures that pain does not have the only voice. And often that is enough to keep moving forward. Sometimes we imagine gratitude as a grand gesture, a speech, a celebration, a dramatic turnaround, but in real life it's much